Hey everyone, Lotus Prince here, and guess what? It's time to do another Q&A. So I've gotten a bunch of questions from a bunch of different people, so let's get right to it, shall we? So Andy Opheim asks, is there a game you cannot do a Let's Play of for any reason? I mean, there are a bunch of games that I might not want to do, but cannot do. The only things I could really think of would be stuff that has enough copyright infringement to get it blocked from whatever I upload it to, like YouTube, or I don't know, like porn or something where it just violates rules. I don't know if there's otherwise games I can't do, but there are games I might not really care enough to do, like various sports things or whatever. It's not really a Let's Play thing. That's something I might record if I'm with a bunch of friends and like, hey, here's what we did today, but like I'm not gonna beat them or anything like that, so I don't know, most stuff is within limits. Damador, do you have any plans to Let's Play the Half-Life series? I hadn't really thought about it, but I might at some point. Those really are brilliant games and I do love them. I never did play Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2, but I watched a friend play them in college when they came out, and they look pretty rad as well. George Latimer, I know you like anime, with you being a big JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan. My question is, have you seen Attack on Titan? And if so, what do you think of it? Yes, and the first, 8 episodes were just captivating. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, I couldn't wait till the next week. Once it got to the point where they were chasing the female Titan, though, it just really slowed down. Like, let's try to chase her. It didn't work. 3 episodes of that. It's just like, oh god, really? The episode ended at an interesting cliffhanger, but then how many years went by? Like 3? I think we only recently got a trailer for Season 2. I'll watch it, but I kind of lost my hype. It's been too long. I understand you don't want to do the One Piece thing and drag out the pacing, well, deliberately, or the Naruto thing where you do filler. So instead they're like, what we do release is going to be damn good, so we'll do a hiatus. Like, I respect that, but man, it took forever. So I'll watch it, but I don't remember half the characters' names at this point. Criminal with a Death Wish. Will you continue making playthroughs about the Resident Evil series? Yes. And if so, will you play Resident Evil Outbreak? That's a tough one. That's really tough. I will almost certainly record something of it, but whether I beat it, that's iffy. Outbreak is hard. Really, really hard. I mean, this might just be me. I only played the first one for a few minutes, but I died in, the second or third room. That game does not mess around. It's designed for multiplayer. And I got wrecked. So, I'll show it, but will I beat it? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Daniel Carosone. What other conventions do you plan to attend, and what do you think of the new Resident Evil 7 game coming out? Well, conventions I plan to attend. I try to regularly attend MagFest, and I occasionally do some of the more small-time local stuff because it's local, like Too Many Games. I'm like an hour from that. It's in, oh man, where is it in Pennsylvania? Oaks. It's in Oaks, Pennsylvania. There's a place I've been to in Parsippany. I think it's actually called something like another gaming convention, or it's called basically what it is. I did Con Bravo last summer. I may do that again, although this time you might take a plane because it was like 12 hours worth of travel there. It cost next to nothing, but it was 12 hours worth of travel, including eating, and if time is money, then it was arguably more expensive. As for Resident Evil 7, I played the first version of the demo, so if you know what you're doing, you can beat it in like 5 or 10 minutes. But if you don't, it kind of provides you with a PT experience, where it's first person and you kind of don't trust anything, and it's really nerve-wracking the whole time. That was pretty fun. I haven't seen any of the later iterations, though. I haven't ever gotten to pick up a weapon or anything like that. It looks cool, though, from what little I'm aware of. So that's interesting. Neo Grave. Do you have Xbox One or PS4? PS4. And there was also, I think I addressed this one on YouTube itself, but also can you do a Hunk story? Like if I were to write my own fanfic of Hunk, I'm not that kind of person, and even if I were, I don't think my writing would be any good anyway. I just prefer to take in the official lore, really. Needy Shield 16, are you going to play Resident Evil 7? Yes, when it comes out. No! Oh god, no. It's come to the point where I try, if there's a game I really want to Let's Play, I'll try waiting until I Let's Play it to play it, so my reactions are real. So it will be years before I play Resident Evil 7. Sorry to do this to you, but it took a year for me to get from Resident Evil 1 to Code Veronica. 7's gonna have to wait a while, because I'm not just gonna do Resident Evil up until that point, and even if I did, it would still take forever. There's over 20 Resident Evil games. It's gonna be a while, even though I want to play it. I still haven't played 6. Alron, what's your favorite Shakespeare play? That one kind of blindsided me, actually. I'm gonna go with, one of two. Maybe Macbeth, because it's just kind of like the action movie of Shakespeare plays, and it has a legitimately cool ending. Or maybe Othello, because it actually has a proper villain, and it's an interesting tragedy to see how everything plays out, and the villain is a total badass. He might be the best Shakespeare villain, because usually there's some sort of antagonist, but this guy's a villain, for real. Like, he's the bad guy. You know, with Romeo and Juliet, Tybalt was as close to a bad guy as you can get, but he was just kind of a jerk who was really prideful of his family, so you see where he's coming from, even though he's a jerk. But Iago's a villain, just straight up, and he's a fun one at that. I guess honorable mention to Hamlet for being just that well written and having a genuinely shocking ending. I mean, 500-year-old spoilers, but like everybody dies except for Horatio. Find me, like, in general, movies that do that. Lots of movies like to go for the Hollywood ending, and, Shakespeare just kills everybody. King Lear had... Well, King Lear didn't have a kill everybody effect, but it had kill everybody you liked. Jeffrey Young. What's the next Resident Evil game that you're going to do a playthrough on? Well, there is a European-only one that I haven't tested. If it works, then Resident Evil Survivor 2. If it doesn't work and I have to stick with what I have, Resident Evil Gaiden for the Game Boy Color. And say what you will about that game, I played it for like an hour. I actually enjoyed it. You might be surprised. Matthew Kinsey, will you ever do straw polls on what game you should Let's Play next? I've kind of considered that. I didn't use the program Straw Poll, but I did have an actual poll for what I should do for Halloween last year. It ended up being well, I guess 2014 now. It ended up being Corpse Party Blood Drive, and then I gave the runner-up the next playthrough, Clock Tower for the Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom. But I've been considering doing something like that. It's not something I normally do, but if I ever do something like set up a Patreon or something like that, I might make that a perk, just to kind of get people more involved. Because if I do a straw poll in general, that's just like... It's tougher because I can't really set a time limit, like an official one, on YouTube or anything like that, so I could come back, like, when the vote's a tie or something. Like, I could come back tomorrow and all of a sudden it's one thing and it's another, so I would want to make sure that I actually use something like straw poll and I'm able to close it down. I think I started deviating a little bit, but there's the answer. Salty Nuts. Would you ever consider doing a Fear Let's Play? Yeah. I've been wanting to play that one for a while, but I've kind of held off because... Honestly, I might feel differently now, but I tried playing it in college on a PS3, and I hated the control scheme because I think the bumper was the trigger. At this point, I think I'd be more used to it, so I guess I could go either way, but I also have a computer that's good enough to run it as well, so yeah, at some point, sure. I would also love to see you play The Last of Us. So would I. Resident Evil Outbreak File 1 and 2. So would I, but see above. And Bioshock. Bioshock's the only one where I might kind of stray away from it. I wouldn't mind, like, the only reason I would do Bioshock is if I ever were to do Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite and you would need the context of one. The only reason I say this is that even though it's a brilliant game, it's System Shock 2. Like, wholesale. Like, it's System Shock 2 underwater. Yes, there's an Ayn Rand motif, and it's totally different for that reason, but it's System Shock 2. When I first played it on my friend's PS3 in college, I actually was able to call plot twists well before they happened, because I'd played the same damn game in 1998. It's a great game, but if you've seen System Shock 2 already, then you're going to be like, oh, let me guess. That's the bad guy. Let me guess. I should trust this person. I should not trust this person. Oh, that happened? Uh-huh. Like, it really is about that close. It's crazy. Like, again, great game. I do recommend a playthrough, but I don't know if I would want to let's play it just because it's redundant. It's like, I mean, this is illegal, but if I were ever to do a Let's Watch, like, let's do a Let's Watch of The Force Awakens. It's like, I already watched it in 1977. I mean, I'm not that old, but I liked Force Awakens, but it's A New Hope. It is. It's the same damn movie. Alright, so, Dragon Ace SG7. Who is the most fun villain so far in JoJo? Not necessarily favorite, though I am curious about what your favorite are, or so far is. Or your favorite arc, sorry. The most fun, I mean, if you're talking big bads, then it's gotta be Dio, because he's the only one who really has fun. He's the kind of mwahaha kind of villain, whereas the Pillarmen are nothing but serious business, with the slight exception of AC/DC. Kira, oh my god, that guy doesn't have a funny bone in his body. God damn. Diavolo, not funny. Not fun. Poochie, no joke. Valentine, God, no joke. So Dio's the only one who even attempts to have fun. Now, if you want to go lower level villains, like random people you'll encounter and beat up, there's probably someone in there, but I kind of remember the big bads better because they last longer, especially with Part 3, where they just throw a guy at you for an episode and then they're gone. So, like, Whole Horse kind of has fun, I guess, but it's gotta be Dio. As for my favorite villain, though, that's tough. It's gonna be probably between Part 3 Dio and Yoshikage Hira, because Yoshikage Hira is just that creepy. Like, he's scary as hell. There are several moments where he just sits down and talks, and you're made extremely uncomfortable.
なんか垂れましたよ。お行儀の悪い人だ。自分できれいにしなさい。君の名前は何だったか思い出せないが、まあいい。よくできたね。きれいに拭き取れたよ。
He's interesting. Favorite arc? That's a little tough. Part 4 is probably the most well written. Part 2 is fun, largely because of Joseph. He just enjoys himself the entire time. And Part 6 is kind of like Part 3 again, Monster of the Week, but there's something that's just entertaining about it, where like almost everything's in a prison and just dealing with everyone else. It's just really entertaining. But that's not really an answer, but I like those a lot. Rhett Buckley, are you going to do LPs on Overblood 2? I would like to at some point. Ghost Hunter, I hadn't really thought about it, but maybe. I do have it. Dead Space 3, this one's so irritating. I actually did, but it never went up, because I recorded it with my friend Luminaire, but then his hard drive borked, and at this point I think he still has the data on his hard drive, but he needs to find a PC that accepts it, because he has this weird custom thing, and I don't know. Like, worst case scenario, I might just have to re-record it. Honestly, though, at this point, it's been a year, I wouldn't mind re-recording it just because we could do better. I like the way the Let's Play came out, the way we did it, but the thing with that Let's Play is when you do it multiplayer, there are some multiplayer-only missions where there's kind of sanity effects, and we only recorded his system, so you just don't get that. So there's kind of something interesting to be had if you were ever to do a a picture-in-picture, and it's like, wait a minute, that player's seeing something different from what that player's seeing, and it would provide a cool effect. So maybe we could try that at some point. The Myst series. If you want nothing to happen and me to go insane, then there's that. But at the same time, if I use a guide, then I'll just kind of get through it. So I don't know if there's a really good way to Let's Play the Myst series. Maybe I could just to see how it plays out, but it might be interesting, but it's not a top priority. If I were to do it, it would be just because Myst has historical significance. I've only actually played the first one. Cool as it was, you could beat it in like 3 minutes if you know what to do. Box o Hobo. Do you plan to do a Fatal Frame 5 Let's Play? Yes, eventually. I would like to. I love me some Fatal Frame. I just need to find an excuse to actually make that the game I play. Itamalt. How do you decide on the next game you're going to Let's Play? Oh, good follow-up. It's usually just kind of what I feel like. Like, this is what I'm in the mood for now. Sometimes I'll feel a little bit of obligation, like, oh, I should do that sequel or whatever. Or if I want to do, like, a theme, like Suda 51 month or something. Or month, yeah, my ass. Suda 51, several months. But, it's usually just kind of a whim, almost. I don't really have a system or a pattern for it. Sans Gaming. Will you do some gameplay footage on Hello Neighbor Alpha 3 from Tiny Build Games and Dynamic Pixels? I've actually never heard of them, so I would have to look up even what they are before giving you a proper answer on that, but probably not, because when I Let's Play, it tends to be a game I'm just going to go through, and I don't know what these are, so I would need to get hyped for them and want to play them, like, right now to do it, so probably not. Cobalt Cat. I don't know if this has ever been asked, but would you do an LP on the survival horror Deep Fear? A survival horror game from 1998 that pretty much got overshadowed by the Resident Evil franchise back in the day, but hey, it's still creepy and has all the bad voice acting one could possibly desire. That's a bit of an obscure one, because it's, not only is it for the Sega Saturn, but it never made it to the States. I don't know if you listen to the podcast that I'm a part of, the Corrective Consciousness podcast, but on that I have mentioned that I have a Saturn that I got parts for that allow it to accept SDXC cards. So it's basically like a flash cartridge, except for a CD-based system, so I could theoretically play whatever game I want on there. And as a matter of fact, I think in just 2015, someone discovered that Deep Fear was going to be released for the US. There is in fact a US version, it just wasn't released. So that ROM or ISO or whatever you call it has actually made it online. So I could actually play not only Deep Fear, but Optimized for America Deep Fear. I don't know when, but I can do it, and I kind of want to because it looks interesting. And I've actually have had it requested once before. Carrick, 52. Is there a game that you started loving only after doing a Let's Play of it? Anything I do blind, really. I don't think there's really been something I disliked, and now that I'm Let's Playing it, oh, turns out I like it. I haven't turned around, but I have discovered that I like games when I Let's Play them. Like, Fatal Frame 3, for example. That one was blind. Frambo, that game was fantastic when I went through it. Stuff like that. Christmas Carol. Couple questions. What do you do for work or spare time outside of gaming? Well, for work, I teach at a university, and I do some tutoring as well for middle and high school students, and I've done a little bit of elementary. Spare time, I mean, this is still computer related, but I kind of just dig around on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit every once in a while. I like to read. I'm horribly out of practice, but I also like to play the piano. Have you ever found a character in the RE series to be hot? Not really. It's not like, especially because we're talking about like PS1 stuff, so they're all blocks anyway. School filmer. I don't know if it's been asked in the past, but what was the single scariest thing you've experienced in a video game? That's tough. The bathtub jump scare in Eternal Darkness was pretty nasty. The White Day ceiling ghost that scuttles at you was just awful. Maybe the scene in Silent Hill 3 when you're walking in the empty room in the hospital and the nurses just straight up spawn behind you. but off camera, so you don't see them, but you hear their heavy breathing, that like thing they do. That was really unnerving. Those were pretty bad. Actually, the raccoon jump scare in what I played of, or maybe it was Badger. What little I played of Until Dawn. It was a cheap jump scare, but it was really, really effective. Like, everyone in the room flipped out when that happened. The Scully 343. Have you ever played any of the Siren games, and what do you think of them? I've only played part of the first one, because Vice had lent it, or not lent it, he had brought it over, we played a few levels. It was a brilliant idea, but I started getting a little frustrated because it turned into a puzzle game that I couldn't figure out. Because the game uses a thing called sight jacking, where you can see what the enemies see. So you have to use that across various enemies to sort of get where they can see and walk in places that aren't those. The problem is if you screw up, they just shoot you and you're dead. So I started getting frustrated with that after a while. I might be more open to it on a future playthrough though, because this was years ago, and now I actually have a guide for it. Cody the Dragon Dude, when's Dino Crisis 3? I have no freaking clue. I need to play Dino Crisis 2 first. I know that's kind of a non-answer, but I don't know. I want to do the games in order. This is a hard one to pronounce. 4ARTOOGONE. Yo. I don't know if there's a pun in there somewhere. Ever try out Blue Stinger for the Dreamcast? Basically a Resident Evil game, just harder. No, I haven't, but I would like to at some point. I do have it. Alice B. Considering its length, would Danganronpa 2 have to be solo, or would somebody that lives closer to you now like Vice? Probably, after Pyro's move. At this point, Vice and Pyro, I think, are about equidistant, actually. But, I'm not doing a game like that solo. There are so many characters, and being able to actually talk to somebody else makes it so much better. Honestly, I think a lot of what made the Danganronpa 1 Let's Play work was the fact that it was co-op. It's a great game, but as a Let's Play, I think I would have gotten physically tired from doing so if I'd done it by myself. Santiago Scarpino. Who do you prefer, Nemesis or Pyramid Head? Well, Nemesis is more engaging, but I think Pyramid Head has more weight. He's more of a symbolic character, so I think probably Pyramid Head, even though he's being overused. J-Dog, V45. What is your spirit animal? Don't have one, sorry. Is the room you're in for on your camera segments getting a bit crowded? Like, I'm not gonna kill my angle here by manipulating the camera, but yeah, it kinda is. It's gonna be a thing. Griffin Spade Lupin. Have you ever played any of the Ratchet & Clank games, and would you be willing to let's play them? I've played just about all of them. I think the only one I haven't played is All for One. Let's playing them? I don't know. They're grindy by design. As cool as they are, they're longer than they otherwise would be because you want to upgrade those guns. Maybe at some point, but no immediate plans. GF. Scariest game you've ever played? I don't know, the first one to make me genuinely nervous and want to stop playing, I think, during night time was maybe Fatal Frame 1. PT was way up there when you don't know what you're doing. White Day was also up there. Best game? I don't know. I don't even know if I want to go there. I mean, I could give you favorite individual genres, like Silent Hill 2 / Eternal Darkness are my favorite horror. Deus Ex, the original, I think is my favorite FPS. I know it's part RPG, but it's a first-person game where you shoot. What would you recommend as the best survival horror? Again, probably Silent Hill 2 or Eternal Darkness. Those are really where it's at. Fatal Frame 1 and 2 are also way up there. 3 just gets crazy hard. Megadeth Ray 10. Will you ever play Skies of Arcadia for the channel? I would like to, honestly. It takes freaking forever, but I really would like to. That might be my favorite RPG. Or if you want, Okage the Shadow King is a rather charming adventure as well. Yeah, I don't have that one, but I've heard good things. Zuku. Favorite genre? Oof. That's tough. I don't even know if I necessarily have one. That's really tough. First gaming memory? Maybe when my family rented a Nintendo Entertainment System for New Year's some year. and my brother and I played, and my cousins, I think, played Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. That was a blast. When will we get new clock tower goodness? Yeah, I gotta get back to those. I don't have an answer, but I would like to get back to them. Favorite movie? I'm not even gonna go there. I don't know. Favorite horror is 1982's The Thing. That's about as good as I can get. Will you play Resident Evil Remake? Oh, I'm sorry. Valkair asks, will you play Resident Evil Remake? Yes. Marunia256, is there any game that really scared you? I answered this one, but Fatal Frame 1, Eternal Darkness, PT, Resident Evil 7 demo, Amnesia, The Dark Descent, White Day. Probably some more too. Happy Mel from Channel Awesome. Would you ever take requests to play a video game that was outside of the survival horror game and indie genre? Yeah, I mean, I play games that are outside of those anyway, and I would take requests, but don't expect that to be the next game I play. Freaking Laz rule. Would you rather take a pitchfork to the gut or a mousetrap to the dick? Mousetrap, no doubt, because it'll hurt and then it'll be over. I don't need my intestines ruined by a freaking pitchfork. Ablationer. Excuse me. Ablationer. Do you think it'd be possible for the franchise to return to its roots, Resident Evil, of 1, 2, 3 and Code Veronica, gameplay, camera, and atmosphere-wise? Or is it doomed to walk the path of Resident Evil 4 and onward? And he does mention that if you discard, Resident Evil 7 with the PT postmortem hype, honestly, I don't think so. I think that genre, not the genre, but that gameplay style is a product of its time, especially with tank controls. Resident Evil 5 got cute and gave you the fixed camera angles for a particular mode if you do something, but that was more as a nostalgia trip. I think we're sticking with third-person shooters. Although Resident Evil has changed up before, it's done first-person before, even before PT, like the Survivor series and stuff, so you never know. Mary, would you ever let's play the old Fallout games? I doubt it. I never cared about Fallout. I can watch other people play them just fine, but I'm not interested in playing them. Sorry. How old are you? 30. Will you ever make a Parasite Eve 2 playthrough? God knows when, but yes. Are you single? Yes. What was your first console? A Model 2 Sega Genesis. What are you doing for New Year's Eve? Well, I mean, I'm recording this after New Year's Eve, but I didn't do jack. I didn't do a damn thing. Just had a nice quiet night. Wes Machado. Oh. I copy-pasted the wrong thing. I had copy-pasted Mary's question into Wes's. Wes Machado asks, would you ever let's play the Broken Sword series? I don't have any plans for it, but maybe. I did download them on GOG. They look interesting, so I might try them at some point. The Kajit Jaina. You sound super calm during your Let's Plays, but when you play alone, all for yourself, do you sometimes turn into angry swearing gamer? Yes, I do. I've definitely done that. I've even done that during some of my Let's Plays. I've cut out some audio so you don't get me just swearing at the screen. Although you did hear a little bit of that with those awful moths in Code Veronica, but there were parts where I died repeatedly in Demon Souls, where it's not like I died 100 times, but when you die in Demon Souls, items aside, you lose everything. Any experience you gained, gone. You have to go back and pick it up. All enemies respawn, so if you die, you made 0 progress. Unless you open a shortcut or something. So, dying to those sword-wielding skeletons in World 4 for like the 3rd time, it's really frustrating. So I've definitely cut out some angry audio. Spoony Lupin. What are your all-time favorite fictional characters? Movies, TV, games, books, etc. Jeez, that's hard. Like, I don't know. Like, I can maybe think of a couple. Like, again, Yoshikage Hira from JoJo is a delightful villain. Joseph Joestar is a delightful hero. There's definitely some, though. Oh, man, there are some characters. Oh, Lad Russo from Bacano. He's just endless amounts of fun. Oh, my God. Game. I don't know. This like... I don't know if I could pick ultimate favorites from games. Like, Heather's my favorite Silent Hill protagonist. She's the most like a person. I don't know, that's genuinely a tough one though. Yeah, I don't really have the best answers for these, I'm afraid. Who are your favorite playable characters in the Resident Evil and Silent Hill series? Oh, well, okay, well there's definitely Heather for Silent Hill. For Resident Evil, I don't know, maybe Leon. Yeah, probably Leon. Jason Lee. There have been a few attempts in the past to take an existing game universe and an established game type and change genres. Like Halo Wars does not play like the Halo games, or Resident Evil, Survivor doesn't play like the regular Resident Evil games, or Dead Space, there's the light gun game that doesn't play like Dead Space, Dragon Quest Builders, Telltale's Borderlands, or the Minecraft games. So do you like these games? Not even necessarily those titles, but like, do you like the concept, like conceptually? Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see series try new things, even if they don't end up working. It's cool to see that they gave it a shot. If you could have a game of a different genre made that was set in the existing, or in the universe of an existing franchise, what would it be? Oh god, that's hard. I don't even know if I know. I mean, some things I'm thinking of just kind of don't work because they already sort of exist. Like, what if there were a Final Fantasy fighting game, and there kind of is with Dissidia, and there is a Mario RPG. I don't know. I don't know if I could think of anything offhand. Resident Evil's already had like 100 different genres. And even then, some of the Resident Evil characters have made it into fighting games, the Marvel vs. Capcom. I don't know if I can think of my own thing for this, I'm sorry. If you could have a character modeled on you, like with or without my own vocals and mocap, just if there were a character based on me, I guess, what game would you want it to be in? And what kind of character would you like to be? That's also really hard. Like, I don't know if I even know that. I'd probably be like an NPC, like, cameo somewhere. I don't think I'd want, like, to be the main character of some game. That'd be weird. Insane Buffoon. When given the option, what difficulty setting do you usually play video games at? Usually normal. Because hard usually feels like artificially hard, and easy can sometimes feel like condescendingly or insultingly easy. I'll only go for easy mode if I'm playing like stuff like Doom 3 or Deus Ex or oh, I just had it. There's like Bayonetta. Like I'm not getting into all those mechanics. I just want to beat the damn game. The Gamer Down Under. Do you ever plan on tackling Alan Wake? Well, now I actually can, now that I have a proper computer that can support it. My previous computer probably could have, but now I definitely can. So at some point I could now, because I don't have a 360, so now I can actually play the thing. Yoret, do you plan on finishing the Dead Space series? See above. I guess I should. Master of all Pokemon. Are you a fan of the Kingsfield series? If so, could we get a playthrough? I can't really answer that because I haven't played them, but I want to. They're kind of the Souls games before the Souls games. They're made by From Software. I would love to play them. In fact, I actually have, I think, all of the American releases. Kingsfield 1, 2, and Ancient City or Ancient Gate, whatever it's called. And I even have Shadow Tower. But the first Kingsfield game, the real first one, is Japanese only. So I want to get a modded PS1 before I play it, because I'm neurotic about playing it in order. And finally, Tiki-sensei has a few questions. Have you played or plan to play the Oddworld series? No, I haven't played it, and I don't particularly have plans for it. Maybe I'll get a good look at the games and reconsider, but I don't have any immediate plans for them. They just kind of, I never really have seen them, so I don't really know what I'm getting into. 5 favorite anime series? Not doing that. Like, I don't have top 5 lists or anything. I can list a few anime that I really like, but I don't have like a definitive top 5. Legend of the Galactic Heroes, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Bacano, and I have a soft spot for Slayers because it's the first thing I watched. So I guess that is 4. It's more than I thought I would do. Yeah, that's probably good. I guess Ultimate Hellsing, if you really have to push for it. 5 favorite movies, TV shows, books. No, I'll give you a few. Again, favorite horror movie is 1982's The Thing, but other favorite movies I really don't know. I can list some movies that I enjoyed watching, whether they're particularly good or not. You know, Chronicles of Riddick isn't the highest quality movie, but I watch it whenever it's on. Mad Max Fury Road was a blast. Hardcore Henry was a blast. But favorites, I don't know. TV shows, that's even tougher because I don't watch that much TV. Justice League Unlimited was damn good, I guess. Dexter was good through season 4. Honestly, I'll take 5 and 6, but season 4 was where it's at. John Lithgow was terrifying. If you only know John Lithgow from Third Rock from the Sun or Shrek, look again. He is so scary. It's unbelievable. Books, I don't know. I enjoyed the Song of Ice and Fire series, the Harry Potter series. Lord of Light by Roger Zelazny was amazing, as was Eye of Cat, same author, and Chronicles of Amber, same author. I don't know if I have definitive favorites, though. Musical preferences, I kind of like video game soundtracks, but I'll listen to kind of a lot of stuff. Not, like, there are a few exceptions, but I'm not generally big on dubstep. I kind of like electronic stuff. Suzumi Hirasawa is a genre all of his own. The artist, Suzumi Hirasawa, he's the guy who did the soundtracks for Berserk, Paprika, and he's done about 1 billion unique songs of his own. The guy's a freaking genius. You should look up on YouTube Town Zero Phase 5. That's one of the best things he's ever done. It's so good. And the last question, will you consider playing Until Dawn or games like it? Yes, Until Dawn's freaking great. I only saw like 3 chapters. So good. So, those were the questions I have had submitted. Thank you all so much for those. It was fun to answer these. I know some of them I was kind of put on the spot and I'm like, I don't know what my answer is, but that's kind of like the best I could do considering that I'm intentionally doing these on the fly. I didn't look at all these in advance and do like research on each of them or anything. So this is more like off the cuff answers. So I apologize if I didn't answer your questions as in depth as you may have liked, but I did answer them all at least to some degree. So thank you all once again. This has been very fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed answering. So thank you one more time, and until next time, everyone.